Hi, I'm Charles Duncan Waterman, sitting here with my good friend Timothy Harry. And Tim has embarked on a quite ambitious project, actually, that involves a very, very sensitive topic, the topic of domestic violence. Tim, talk to me a little bit about this film. What is the name of the film, by the way?
Well, the film is called The Monster Next Door.
The Monster Next Door.
Yeah, and it's a film about a friend of mine who I grew up with back home in Trinidad.
Okay.
I grew up in church with her, and she was killed by her ex-boyfriend in Brooklyn, New York, on September 18, 2013.
Really?
Yeah, and he shot her 6 times, 3 times in the torso, and when she was on the ground and she was almost lifeless, he shot her in the back of the head to make sure that she was totally gone. 3 times in the torso, 3 times in the back of the head, and literally minutes before this happened. So I'll just give you a brief overview of her story.
Because I want to know, like, how did this just happen? I mean, what's the background to this?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of instances of abuse between them, and she eventually got to this point where she wanted to recommit her life back to her religion and to Jesus.
Yes.
And so she decided to end the relationship because he had been abusive to her several times in the past, and he was very verbally abusive to her. He used to call her animal names. He used to choke her, like while she was pregnant, he choked her till she blacked out twice, and that caused a restraining order to happen. But essentially, she wanted to get this life where she was back in church, serving God, and she had just finished her college degree to become a nurse.
Okay.
So she was moving a life forward.
How old is she?
She was only 46.
What's her name?
Celis Gonzalez.
Celis Gonzalez.
Yeah, her name's Celis.
And this happened in New York City?
Yep, Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing. So continue. Tell me some more.
Yeah. So one evening he used to stalk her and stuff a lot. And one evening he waited for her outside, and he used the excuse that he wanted to spend time with his daughter.
Oh, so he had children with her.
Yes, they had a child together.
Oh, they have a child together. Okay.
Yeah. So he used this excuse that he wanted to spend time with the child, and she was very compassionate that way. That she said, you know what, you can spend time with your child, but you and I are not in a relationship anymore.
Yes.
So he used this to sort of say, okay, well, can I come over and take you guys out for dinner? Just to hang out with my daughter. And she's like, no, I'm tired from work. I just want to stay here. He's like, okay, let me just get you some dinner.
Okay.
And she's like, okay, fine. So he gives the kids money to go get dinner at the chicken place around the corner in Brooklyn. When they came back, the little daughter, 5-year-old, has a game she plays. She wants to run up the stairs before everyone and say, hey, I got here first. I win.
Of course. How old is she?
5. She was 5 then. She's now 6.
That's typical 5-year-olds. Boy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very playful and jovial and stuff like that. So she runs upstairs. She runs to the front door, yells out to her sister, Khadija, Khadisha, mommy's dead. And Khadisha's like, what are you talking about? Stop messing around. So Khadisha gets to the front door, and sure enough, her mom is laying there in a pool of her own blood. And right at the door, as if she was trying to get away, and he shot her in the back of the head at that point, and he took off. Yeah. So the story itself, it's you know what? It shows that there is a possibility that the system failed her, because this guy, her killer, had 10 felonies. He had 10 felonies.
Against her?
No, in general.
In general.
10
Okay.
felonies, including weapons charges. He had assault charges, aggravated assault charges, and he was allowed to walk the streets even when she had to run and hide in the shelter at one point because she was afraid for her life.
Yes.
And he got charged at that point, but she was the one that had to run to the shelter. And nothing was really done to protect her. And I feel as though it's almost a failure on the system that this happens. And when I started to do research on domestic violence, up to 4 women die every day at the hands of their intimate partner.
You're kidding.
Every day in the U.S. alone.
Are there with regards to the gentleman, then what happened to him? Is he in jail now then?
No, he died. He took off upstate New York,
Right.
where he has friends or something like that. So he went up and stayed up there, and he ended up having a standoff with the cops.
Oh,
He shot
wow.
himself in the stomach, and he got to the hospital and he ended up dying as a result of it. I think as a result of his
So
injuries.
the cops didn't kill him. He killed himself.
He killed himself. Yeah.
So he went out. He went out. As
He
a
went
coward.
out. Yeah, he went out as a coward, as he did, as most abusers are cowards,
Wow.
hitting a wife, right, hitting their partner. So yeah, for me, like her brother called me literally or texted me overnight,
Right.
and he told me in text, and I called him like first thing in the morning on the 19th, and we talked about it. I was like, I couldn't even believe that was happening, that had happened.
Understand.
You know, so for me, that was my first thought, because I myself, unfortunately, like as a child growing up, I saw my mom abused very regularly. So for me, it
By your
was
dad, you mean?
yeah. And for me, it was a very personal issue. I mean, he eventually got a lot of help, and you know, he wasn't abusing alcohol anymore. He quit alcohol and everything, and he got better and apologized. So, I mean, I'm sure he still has some regret because of it, but he's come a long way. So it's okay for me to talk about
I see what
that
you're saying.
now.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, it's very personal, because I could still remember what it sounds like for my mom to be hit. I still remember what that sound of the hit was. I remember what her voice, her screams were. Like, to hear my mom, it was like a wail being hit. That's like a wailing sound, not like but it's like a wailing sound that she made when she
deep pain.
that really deep pain as to why are you hitting me, essentially, right? So for me, I understand domestic violence very personally. So when I heard about it, I had the thought that I wanted to do something in the way of a film, because the weirdest thing happened. Me and Kurt had reconnected on Facebook several months before her death.
Kurt is her brothers, right?
Yeah, Kurt.
Okay.
And he saw that I had posted something. I was working with actors when we did
Oh,
the
I
sexual
see.
misconduct case.
Oh, I get
when
you.
we did that
Right,
video,
right.
when we did those short films, and he had seen that I had worked with these actors and stuff like that. He's joking around, when are we gonna do our project together?
Okay.
You know what I mean? And we were like, yeah, whatever. We joked around about it on Facebook, and then this came and happened. And obviously, I'm not gonna suggest it, but he eventually said, you know what? I could feel him just being left really baffled by what happened, because he's like, this has hurt me in a way that I can't even imagine was possible. I want to do something about this. I want to do something about this, so that, you know, this won't happen to her daughters, you know. So
That's right.
you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they say that's the trend of domestic violence. It could happen that way, right? So